Welcome to a very special episode of Pulsar do Surf. Today we have with us a surfer, storyteller, a visionary who has dedicated more than 45 years to the ocean, Mark Rebscher.
Hey, how are you doing?
Mark, it's an honor to have you here on Pulsar do Surf. Welcome to our show. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for coming. So, in our podcasts, we always, with our guests, we always try to understand first, because before we start the it's just, but the main core of the interview, we always try to understand, and which is important, how
Right.
the surf start and how the surf get into your life. How was it? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. For me, it's kind of strange. I always say that it started with my first memory that I can remember as a kid, which is almost drowning. Uh, and that's my first memory that I can remember is almost drowning. And what's funny about that is I didn't touch the water for probably 2 or 3 years after that. Uh, it was a traumatic experience for me. So
How old were you? Sorry, how old
I
were you?
was probably four,
Okay.
probably 3 or 4 when that happened. And I
Okay.
didn't touch the water till I was 6 or 7.
Okay.
And that's important for me because everything in my life is based around the ocean and water. So to have that as my first memory and then to overcome that as a little kid and then become someone who's extremely tied to the water is, for me, a very symbolic moment. And what happened was I didn't touch the water for 3 years, and my father was in the military, and he was actually stationed in Hawaii. And I learned how to swim in the ocean. And what happened was I got so excited. I put this mask on, and I got so excited. I was seeing all these fish swimming around me that I didn't even know I was swimming. And I came up, and my mother was like, "You're swimming, don't you know?" And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're swimming." And after that, my fear of the ocean was gone. And, I became someone who is so tied to the water that, everything I do is based off of the ocean. And after my father was stationed in Hawaii, we moved to the coast of North Carolina. And my father retired and opened up a scuba diving business, and
Okay.
he's also a big sailor. So what happened was, surfing was a natural progression for me. A buddy of mine had a surfboard, and we went surfing for the first time. And of course, the very first time I was hooked. And
How
before
old were you? Sorry, how
I
old were
was
you?
probably 11,
Already
11 years
in
old.
North Carolina already.
Yes,
In North Carolina.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. But
Mhm.
even before I picked up a surfboard, we would go to the beach and I would body surf. And we're
Okay.
talking early 70s, and there really wasn't much around. I mean, boogie boards were invented or bodyboards were invented, but nobody had them. So you body surfed. So
Yeah.
I had the ocean knowledge before I ever picked up a surfboard.
Okay.
And picked up a surfboard, and the rest was history, and just couldn't get it out of my system. That was 1978,
Okay.
and I am surfing to this day. Uh,
Sorry.
it's okay. uh, Been surfing to this day, and I'm now 60.
Okay.
And my motivation for surfing is different than it was when I was a kid. Now my motivation is probably almost more spiritual than anything. You're just stoked that you're going out and surfing, and you're doing it for the love of surfing and not necessarily for any kind of glory or whatever. You're just so tied to the ocean that you're thankful every time you go out. And I surf with a bunch of older people. I'm 60. I've got a good friend who's 69, and he's absolutely killing it out
Oh,
there.
really?
Oh my
Okay. Wow.
gosh. He would put most of the youngsters to shame. And I look at people
What
like him
board?
as,
What board they use? What board? Which board they use?
I use a longboard. Nine,
And your friend, sorry, and your friend, partner.
he's on a longboard, but when the
Uh,
waves get a little bigger, he goes and takes a shortboard out.
Amazing, that's incredible. That's so
Right.
inspiring. And
And
you got a longboard? You use
yeah,
the longboard?
9.6 Donald Takayama.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I used to ride a shortboard when I was a kid, but over the 45 plus years I've been surfing, what happens is you get older, you're not as strong as you were when you were younger. And I just slowly evolved to surfing on a longboard.
Okay.
And what I do is I call it, I retired from the shortboard, you know. So I pretty much retired from the surf shortboards, and now I just try to, get in the pocket, trim, reach the nose if I can, do a little bit of soul arching and just become one with the wave. And that's
Uh,
kind of where I am in surfing now. And it all started 45 plus years ago, and never stopped. Yeah,
it's a life dedicated to surfing, not only in the practice of surfing, I
right.
believe, but also you've been like creating some projects.
Yes.
Since when your vein of creativity pops up in your life?
Well, I never really considered myself a creative person until
Okay,
I started creating.
okay,
And what happened was Big Wednesday is my all-time favorite film. Absolutely love Big Wednesday. And I've been probably watching that film. I didn't get to see it in the actual movie theaters, but I've probably been watching it since either the late 70s or the early 80s. And uh, I can safely say that if it wasn't for Big Wednesday, I would not be surfing today. And I love that film so much that every time a new film would come out in Hollywood, right?
hmm
Uh, I surfers would be so excited. Oh, a surf film is coming out. And we'd be so excited and we'd go see it. And it would always kind of let us down a little bit because if
The
Big Wednesday,
expectations were high.
exactly. And if your benchmark is Big Wednesday, then everything kind of always felt a little bit let down. So I decided that I'm going to write my version of Big Wednesday. It's not a part two or anything like that, but I decided, you know what? We're due for an authentic movie about surfers. And I said, I'm going to write it. And I had this idea in my head and I made it happen. Originally, I wrote it.
When it
Go ahead.
started, sorry, when it started, sorry, just
Well,
to.
I wrote it originally in the early 90s.
Oh, okay, okay,
Uh-huh. And I tried to sell it to Hollywood, didn't get anywhere with it.
okay,
But then I rewrote it about 5 years ago. And what happened was on the East Coast, I live on the East Coast. I live in Florida. I grew up
okay,
in North Carolina. So I live in Florida now. But for us East Coast surfers of the United States, um, we live for the hurricanes. Okay.
okay,
Absolutely
okay,
live for the hurricanes.
okay.
We got to surf Hurricane Aaron before you got to surf Hurricane
Yeah,
Aaron,
it's
right?
right,
Uh,
correct,
right. And Gabrielle, for instance, I
correct.
surfed Gabrielle last week. You're surfing it like a few days ago.
Yeah, a few days ago, it's correct,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah,
And now you've got Imelda coming your way,
exactly,
and so on and so forth. But
exactly.
one of the things about surfing hurricanes is we are hurricane swells. We establish, we're creating joy out of surfing hurricanes, whereas hurricanes are also destroying property and killing people at the same time. So there's this yin and yang about surfing. We're getting joy from it, where there's death and destruction on the other side.
Exactly.
And 5 years ago, the Hurricane Maria, I think it was Maria, hit Puerto Rico and just decimated the island. And I decided that I was going to raise funds, create a fundraiser to contribute as surfers to a place where the hurricanes destroyed them.
Okay.
And I brought Big Wednesday to the local movie theater here about 5 years ago.
Okay.
packed it out. I had that place packed out.
Really
And
incredible.
what was interesting is because it was filmed in the around 1976, 78, it was very male centric.
Okay.
And we have a very large uh, women surfing population where I live in Florida. And I knew
Okay.
there was a lot of women surfers in the audience, and I kind of felt really bad that they weren't represented in Big Wednesday. So long story short, after that whole movie was over, I felt really bad about it, and it bugged me for about a year. And I was like, wait a minute, I can rewrite my story that I wrote back in the 90s and rewrite it to where I have a character, women character and men characters. And it's a balance to where both women surfers and men surfers will be able to feel like this is a movie about them.
Okay.
So this is a movie for all surfers in the world. And I rewrote it. And once I rewrote it, it's 10 times better than what I wrote back in the 90s. And I was like, I got to get this thing made, right? And essentially, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to uh, get this made, and I'm getting an awareness out to all 25 million surfers in the world to say, hey, this is a real movie about surfers, about you. This is the essence of surfing. And I'm going to the grassroots effort of 25 million surfers to help me make this movie.
Very well.
Um,
Very well.
yeah, it's a passion project of mine. And I want everyone to go into this movie going, finally, a movie about us.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Because you have a phrase, a famous phrase from you that say only the surfers understand the surfers, and it's I
absolutely.
think it's quite veridic, quite true. That's true.
Yes.
Mark, let me just make a small appointment because our audience maybe and me myself, I also
Okay.
don't know the. Can you describe us a little bit of the reality of surfing in Florida nowadays, the
Yeah.
culture, the how is it?
Florida is an amazing place to be a surfer. Um, we're not known for our waves. I mean,
Yeah.
Portugal, you have world-class waves. We essentially just have beach breaks. There's no point breaks, no reef breaks. Well, there's a few reef breaks in southern Florida, but for the most part, it's just beach breaks. A lot of times it's wind swell. We get the hurricanes that give us our best swells of the year. We get some northeasters, stuff like that. But it's a very rich surfing culture here. And, I always defend the East Coast by saying Kelly Slater was from Florida,
It's true.
right? We may have small waves, but we have a rich surfing tradition here for sure. And if you're okay with riding small waves, you can surf all the time.
With
I
warm
mean,
water.
and the water's warm. Absolutely. Yes.
That's
Um, so you just have a nice mix of people who some ride short boards, usually younger people, and then people like me start, riding on the long boards. And it's a nice mix of people out there. And with Florida, we call them barrier islands, and the barrier islands are usually, I don't know, let's call them 10 kilometers long on average. And there's a series of these little islands that go all the way down the coast of Florida. So
okay.
there's probably 30, 40 different islands. I live on a place
Oh,
called
really?
Fernandina Beach.
I never heard about it. I didn't
Right.
have any idea about it.
So you have all these little islands on the coast of Florida, and you belong to your island. So your island is your surf tribe. So Fernandina Beach, Amelia Island, the people on my island, we're all very well
Oh,
we're connected as a tribe in our little island, as well as say Cocoa Beach has their own island and they're connected. And what it does is because you live on an island, everybody's connected in a way, and you feel like you're part of something larger than yourself. So for the
awesome.
most part, when you're out in the lineup, everybody knows everybody, and it's almost a communal experience where everybody's cheering everybody on. there's not necessarily a competitive atmosphere out in the water. It's more
Okay.
social
Okay.
because the peaks are all over the place. Everybody spreads out. We all talk. We all cheer each other on. And the stoke is just amazing. And what I like about that is you can go to world-class places and it's very localized and you don't
Correct.
feel welcome in the water.
Correct.
And the waves could be better, but if you don't feel welcome in the water, you're not really having a good surf
Mm.
session,
Yeah, I don't have fun, of course. So much
right?
too. Oh, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So even though it's smaller, we're having better enjoyment in the water because we're all together, you know. So
Amazing. So as far as I understood, it's a reality I really didn't know about. You have several surf communities in
yes,
Florida, correct?
yes, yes,
Okay. For example, Kelly Slater is from Cocoa Beach, correct? If
correct.
I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
So, and one question, have you live in Florida for how long?
For 25 years.
Okay, so
Yeah.
for sure you cross your path with Kelly Slater sometimes for sure. You saw his development, like his surf development or no?
Yeah, so it's always strange um, surfing development. When you're a young kid or a Grom, you never know who's going to be the next world champion, right? So
Okay.
at the time, Kelly Slater was just another up and coming Grom, and you never, you know, there was no name to it, right? A classic example. I lived on the North Shore of Kauai
Okay.
back in the late '80s.
Okay.
And the Iron Brothers are from there. They used to
Okay. Yeah.
surf pine trees when I
Correct.
was there, but they were little Groms. Nobody knew who they were,
Of
right?
course. Of
They were
course.
just sitting there surfing every day at pine trees, getting better and better, but they're like 12 years old, you know,
Of
so they're
course.
just a bunch of Groms and then boom, you know, they become world champion. It's the same thing with Kelly Slater. He was just a Grom and he's shredding and being better than everybody else, but nobody ever thinks you're going to be world champion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he becomes one, and then you know he becomes uh, who Kelly Slater is. Well, I mean, I don't think I need to say anything more.
Yeah. Of course.
But yeah, but what's funny about Florida is it's a very long state. Instead of saying kilometers, let's talk about hours. I live on the very northern tip of Florida. Cocoa Beach is kind of in the middle. It's really 3 or 4 hours of drive time to get to
Wow.
Cocoa Beach.
Wow.
So it's not like we cross paths,
Course.
you know?
Yeah.
It would be as if you were living in France, if you were in
In
Portugal and
Portugal, in
Kelly Slater
Portugal.
was living in France.
In
You
Por-
don't cross paths, right?
Okay, yeah, exactly. Don't grasp that. Exactly. Because
Mhm.
we live in such a small country, I mean,
Yes,
we have like hundreds of kilometers of coast, but it's easy for us to know which everyone is. It's very easy.
right.
So in Florida, with that, you could also observe the growth of surfing. Nowadays, how many surfers do you think Florida can have?
Mm. Um, Hundreds of thousands.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Um, well, Cocoa Beach is Melbourne, Sebastian Inlet. That's the epicenter of surfing on the East Coast. That's where all the surfing industry is right there. And there's thousands of surfers there. But every one of those little islands I was talking about, they
Uh-huh.
all have their surfers that live on the islands. And then you have everybody who lives inland. And then you have people who live on the Gulf Coast. It's hundreds of thousands of surfers, absolutely. Uh,
Incredible.
but yeah, it's interesting because the United States is such a large country that there's surfing on both coasts from Florida all the way up to Maine. You know, they
Exactly.
surf in South Carolina, they surf in North Carolina, Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, New York, New
Yeah,
Jersey, all the way to Maine. And they all have their own little surfing towns.
yeah, incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the main difference between the surf culture you told about the
Right.
hurricanes, right? And
Sure.
between where you now North Carolina, right? Carolina,
Right.
where you lived
Yes.
before, and where you live now in Florida. What are the main? You have such also a big amount of surfers in North Carolina, or
Uh,
not so
there's
much
there's quite a few surfers in North Carolina as well.
as well.
Probably not as many as Florida.
Okay,
But again, for the East Coast, Cape Hatteras is the mecca of surfing, in my opinion, on the East Coast. And the reason for that is the continental shelf is real close, so it's a deeper water wave.
okay,
Not like Nazare, but it's got a very deep water wave. So the waves break bigger up there. So what happens is everybody from the East Coast, from Maine to Florida, converge on the Outer Banks of North Carolina
okay,
because
okay.
that's the best surf that we have on the East Coast.
And it's also, okay, okay,
Right. Now,
understand.
I'm sure that the people from New Jersey will differ with me, and the people from Florida will differ with me, but
Of course.
it's well known that the Outer Banks of North Carolina is probably the surfing mecca of the East Coast. And it's a little more raw up there, a little more windy, a little more weather, kind of like y'all in Portugal, where
Yes,
you have some rawness to
yes.
your beaches.
Correct. Mainly in the winter. Yeah, mainly in the
Yes.
winter.
Yeah.
We have 4 seasons here, right?
Right.
We tend to say that Portugal is a little bit like California.
Right.
There are people even that say that Portugal is the California of Europe. Well, I've been also only once in California. I'm not sure about it, but in the winter, our coast, mainly in the north of Portugal, is pretty fustigated with storms and with not so good waves, because
Right.
mainly we have sandbars here. So, but
Yeah.
in the from the center of Portugal until the south, then you have better conditions because you have more proper reef breaks and some proper how do you say proper the waves break in places that are turned correctly to the storms, so it will stop a little bit the swell, and they will the waves will break like smoothly, more perfect, and also with some size. So yeah,
Right.
yeah,
The swell windows. Yeah.
hmm yeah.
So another little interesting thing about the Outer Banks of North Carolina, because I'm from there, so I'm partial to North Carolina.
Okay.
I used to have an uncle that flew for Pan Am, and
You have passion for North Carolina, yeah.
oh
I can
yes,
see. I can
absolutely,
see.
yes, yes. Um, but I had a uncle that used to fly for Pan Am a long time ago, and he once
hmm
told me that all weather begins and ends off the tip of Cape Hatteras. And I never understood what he meant by that, but now I understand completely. And it's
Hmm.
important to Portugal because
Yeah.
we call them northeasters. And basically, it's a low pressure that forms basically right off the coast of North Carolina. It's the birth of the northeaster, the birth of the storm. And it's a low
Okay.
pressure. And what it does is once it forms off North Carolina, it moves up the coast to like Maine and then makes the right-hand turn to Europe.
Okay.
And
Okay.
by the time it gets to Maine and hits that water in the wintertime, the storm just intensifies and blows up to this giant storm and heads towards Portugal and Europe. And those storms are what's given you the 100 feet waves at
Yeah,
Nazaré.
it's true. It's true. It's true.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah, it is because it's that storm will hit us from the
yes,
west.
right,
From the west, correct?
yes.
Yeah, west.
And
Because
those,
we yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and
Correct.
those
Yeah.
storms are formed, they're born off the coast of North Carolina.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
The world is much more connected than what we think.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we're brothers in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Storm Brothers.
Yes, yes,
Connected by the storm, I mean.
yes, yes.
So, we can talk a little bit. No, we can talk of your
Sure.
projects for
Yeah.
sure. You were. I'm going to pick up another time your last intervention about your project where you invite a woman, a surfer, a woman surfer, to get into your project. Can you uh, how do you plan to involve the surf community in this project? I mean, the actors, filmmakers, investors.
Right.
How is it going in this moment?
It's in the early stages, but I've got to tell you, I'm very excited about how this is progressing. Um, First of all, surfers only understand surfers. You mentioned that earlier. And in order to make this an authentic film about surfers, surfers have to be involved through the whole thing. So my vision is to have surfing producers, surfing directors, surfing actors, directors of photographers that are surfers, and combine all these people together to create a movie that is an authentic movie about surfing. And Because I want to say I want there to be balance. And what balance I mean by that is I want the women surfers in the story, those characters, to be as important and relevant as the men surfers in the story.
Mhm.
Because I'm a
Okay.
male surfer who wrote the story, I really would like to have, my ultimate vision would to have a female director direct the movie, the film. That way she can put her perspective of the female surfers in the creativity of making the film. Because I can do my best, but I'm not, I'm a man, I'm not a woman. So I want perspective of a female director to balance or counterbalance my perspective to make this as authentic as possible. But
Okay.
what's really interesting is I've connected with Pedro Suarez, who I believe you know, and he's a person from Portugal, lives in Portugal, is from Portugal. He's been surfing his whole life as well, and we've really hit it off. He understands surfing, and he understands my vision and how important this movie could be culturally, surf culturally, for the entire surfing population in the world. We're overdue for a movie about us. Big
Yeah.
Wednesday was 50 years ago. You know what I'm saying? We haven't had that since, really. And so I've been talking to him, and through our talking, uh, I came up with the idea. I was like, listen, I'm not tied to having this movie filmed in the United States. I would be stoked if Portugal got behind this film. And we talked about it a little bit, and he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, we can have Portugal film this. We could film this in Portugal. I'm okay with that because on purpose, when I wrote the story, I don't name any surf breaks in the story. It's a mythical surf break. I did this on
Okay.
purpose so that no
Okay.
matter where you were in the world, you could be in Portugal, you could be in South Africa, you could be in Bali, you could be in California. You would think that this is a story about your own personal home break.
Okay.
So what that
I
does is
understand.
that gives me freedom to film it wherever I want, you know?
Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah, yeah,
for us to understand and our audience understand. So,
yes.
the movie you talk before you talk, you will have many directors, as far as I understood. Is correct?
What I'm
Yeah.
trying to do right now with
Huh,
with Pedro Suarez right now, what we're trying to
huh.
do is we're trying to assemble a group of surfing people that A, are surfer producers, B,
Okay.
that are surfing directors,
Okay. Okay.
C, surfing photographers,
Okay. Okay.
cinematographers, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
we're in the beginning stages, Pedro and I,
Okay.
of of uh,
Collect,
getting
collecting,
collecting,
collecting
yes, collecting the
the people
people,
that are interested in making part of the project, of course.
yes, yes,
Okay. So
and we're
there is
there's
no
a
limit. There is no limit on as much as people want to participate,
to
they can.
participate.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do right now is find people in Portugal that believe in the vision and want to contribute, right?
Yeah.
So we're now talking with each other, and we're trying to make connections in Portugal to have this thing actually filmed in Portugal. So this is an open invitation. I'm inviting anybody in Portugal that are film directors or cinematographers or ocean water cinematographers to contact me, and let's create this collaboration together in Portugal and make this film in Portugal. That's the goal right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, okay. You have the with that you will have the base of the technical base to catch the video and the pictures of the movie, right? And
right.
and and the protagonists, the actors of the movie, they are going to be just how many people?
So I guess what's happening is once we establish a group of people, then this project becomes real. And then we can start talking to investors.
Hmm.
We can start talking about sponsors, promoting my book to sell copies of my book. What I want to do with the funds of the book is to put it towards the movie, right? But
Okay.
so I have, it's a fictional story. It's a coming of age story of a girl surfer who wants to become the world champion.
Okay.
And her friend, he is trying to find the meaning of life through surfing. So basically, the story it chronicles, it starts from 1976 to 2000. And
Okay.
what it is, it starts with both the girl and the boy at 10 years of age in their Grom years. And it
Okay.
chronicles their lives from age 10 to age 40. And
Okay.
the story chronicles their lives as how
Okay.
does she become the world champion? How does he find the meaning of life through surfing? So
Okay.
basically what it is she's the competitive surfer and the male is the soul surfer.
Okay.
And the story chronicles their lives for 30 or 40 years and how they misunderstand each other because it's competitive surfing and soul surfing. Your mindset is two different ways
Totally
completely.
different.
Right,
Totally
right.
different. Correct. Correct. Correct.
And so what my vision is when we get this film made is I want surfers to be the actors. That's how grassroots and core this
Mhm.
film is going to be.
So basically, we will need, for example, you will need several male and several female surfers
Yes,
because we will see the how do you see the chronology,
right.
their growth, their development. So
Yes,
you must have children, you must have teenagers, you must have
yes,
adults, and you must have like mature people. Correct? If
right,
I'm not
correct.
mistaken. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I understand. Okay.
And there's many characters in my film, not just
Okay. Not just the two.
and
Okay.
right. And it's a story. I always want to be clear. It's not a documentary. This is a story. It's a
Okay.
drama. Okay.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
coming of age story and it's
Okay.
fictional.
Okay.
So they're the two main characters, but I have the surf shop owner. And he's kind of like the wise, all-knowing person. I have people in the surf crew, the people that they hang out with, every surf town, you have this tight-knit group of people that and there's a couple characters that are funny, and there's a
Correct.
couple characters that are serious, and so on and
Yeah.
so forth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've developed a bunch of characters as the surf crew of the mythical surf break. So they're characters. And then Art, who's the main character, there's Art and Via. Via is the woman surfer who wants to become world champ.
Okay.
Art is the soul surfer, and he moves to the islands.
Okay.
And when he's in the islands, he meets up with a big wave shaper who, again, is fictional. Her
Okay.
name is Aiko,
Okay.
and she's from Japan, but she's a
Hmm.
premier big wave shaper of the islands. And I kind of patterned her off of Dick Brewer, and
Okay.
she Aiko is Bear in Big Wednesday. Okay, that's my homage to Big Wednesday. I envision Aiko as a female version of Bear.
Okay,
Right.
that's funny.
So as Art goes to the islands, he makes friends with her, and they talk about big waves and shaping Rhino Chaser surfboards. And she's from Japan, and she's the wise, knowing person that takes Art under her wing, very much so like Bear took Matt Johnson, and Leroy under his wing. And if you're a fan of Big Wednesday, you're going to see the similarities of my story because it's heavily influenced by Big Wednesday, no doubt.
I
I
understand.
don't say that it's not. It's not a copy of Big Wednesday.
I understand,
It's
of course.
but it's that same soul
Feeling.
feeling of Big Wednesday. Yeah. So
Oh,
there's going to be many, many actors. And
yeah.
one of my visions is to, before the film is made, is to have a global casting call of surfers to come to Portugal and try out for the roles of the film.
So you are targeting Portugal as the country where the movie will be produced, correct?
Produced, yes.
Okay.
So,
Now
so
I
Port
understand why you are here.
right, yes, yes. Um, so
Okay.
I want Portugal, and I mean, I'm stoked that Portugal wants
So
to do this.
why not Indonesia?
Well, okay, great question. Great question. So, 75% of it will be filmed in Portugal. And I know that you have ties in Indonesia. And I'm gonna ask you some questions, maybe not on this podcast, but later on. But the
Okay, my
other
pleasure.
25% of the film is in a mythical place that I call the islands. I'm not
Okay.
calling it Hawaii. It's not like he's going to Hawaii. That story's been done so many times. I
Okay.
don't want to redo that story of somebody moving to Hawaii, they get beat up by the Hawaiians, and then they power through it and become a big wave surfer. That's not what my story's about at all. It's called the
Okay.
islands, right?
Okay.
And I think collaborating with you, being Portuguese yourself, I would love for the other 25% to be filmed in Indonesia. That would be amazing. You
Yeah, of
know,
course.
we just got to we got to find two big wave surf spots, one left and one right.
That's not difficult.
Okay. And then a place where Aiko, my big wave surfboard shaper, can sit on a cliff and look at the most dramatic views ever out into the ocean. So 25% of it could realistically be done in Indonesia. So 75% in Portugal, 25% in Indonesia.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
I'm going to make you a question I think is
sure.
important. For example, if I'm a movie maker or if I'm a producer, whatever, this is for people that want to be in to help you to what they will earn with that.
Okay, say that one more time.
What
What will
what
they
what what they will earn with that?
earn with that? Okay.
Uh,
Um, so I view this project, first of all, it's a passion project of mine. Okay, this is all straight from my heart. And my goal
I
is to
can
get
see
this
it.
movie made, right?
Correct.
All I'm asking for is creative control. That's all I want is creative control. And anybody who takes part in this film, I want to lift all boats and give everybody a equity position in the film itself. So as we assemble a film crew, producer, director, cinematographer, director of photography, they all will take a equity position in the film so that we all can profit from it and we can all make a living from it. I'm not here to try to take all of the earnings. I want to spread it out with everybody who's involved because I'm 60 years old. I got maybe 40 more years left. This is not about making a bunch of money for me.
Of course,
Now,
of course. This is
but
a
of
passion
course,
project, and the
yeah, it's a
people that
passion
will
project.
participate must have that passion too. I know
Yes.
for sure.
And I want to share the wealth with everybody who's involved. That's my
Okay.
goal. Now, granted, I do want to make some money so that if it's breaking, if Uluwatu's breaking, I can get on a plane tomorrow and go surf there, right? So I would like to be able to surf anywhere
with
in the
so much
world.
crowd, with so much crowd, for sure. Are you sure?
Or maybe you can give me some secret surf breaks or something. So
Um,
so at this point,
yeah,
um, I'm just trying to assemble people who believe in the vision and would like to talk to me. And then between myself and Pedro Suarez, we're going to assemble a team. And then once we assemble the team and then we can start talking about ownership of the movie or ownership of the rights and so on and so forth. And and it's kind of like a chicken or the egg thing. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? That's kind of
yeah,
that's where I'm at right now. Nobody wants to give me money because I don't have a film to show them, right? Or I don't
correct,
have a producer, I don't have a
correct.
director. So what I'm thinking is if I can assemble a producer and a director and a director of photography and a water unit cinematography, and we all have this vision, shared vision, then it becomes legitimate. And then we can start talking to the sponsors and the investors, right?
Yeah, you
Um,
must have something to show, I guess. I think
yes,
that's very important.
right,
Something in concrete to show.
right. So I have the
Yes.
book to show, I have the audio episodes, and probably in about 2 or 3 months, I'll actually have an audio book. So I do have some content to show, but I have to organize a team to make it legitimate. And that's where Pedro Suarez comes in, and you and myself and all 25 million surfers in the world. And what I really like about Portugal is it's a small country. And what I say about that is my wife is from Ecuador. It's a very small country as well. They're probably about relatively the same size. But what I have understood about my wife is because you're from a small country, you know everybody in the country, right? You have
A
connections with
lot of bunch of
everybody,
people. Yeah, it's true.
right? And Portugal is the same exact way. You have connections with everybody in the country. Whereas in the United States, it's such a gigantic country,
Yeah.
there's no connection to your fellow citizens in the United States. So it's much
I,
harder to create a team because we're all so spread out. Whereas
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to, this is, I think this is a pertinent question.
Yes.
In the United States, you have some feedback about your project before, already
Um,
before you
yeah.
try to start it somehow. How is it? How was it?
Yes, I have had feedback in the United States. I've had one producer in California interested in it, but he's working on a documentary, a surf documentary right now that I don't want to mention because, we're
Of
not
course,
ready to mention names, but
of course.
he just got his surfing documentary on Amazon, I believe it was Amazon. So he's right now
Oh,
he's very focused on his documentary and getting the word out and all that.
of
Uh,
course.
but he's very interested in the story. He's got some other producers that are interested. But like I said, I'm not tied to the United States. I feel like I'm a citizen of the world, not a citizen of the United States.
Yeah.
And the
Mhm.
beautiful thing is surfing is a global sport all over the world. And we all feel the same way. That's my point. We all feel the same way. It doesn't matter. Stoke is the same in Portugal as it is in Florida, South Africa, so on and so forth. But I think right now, Portugal is one of like the epicenters of surfing in the whole world right now. Y'all are like on fire as far as surfing and surf culture.
Yeah,
And
surf tourism,
yeah, yeah,
surf competition, surf
yeah,
events.
yeah,
Yes, it's an important destination for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, doesn't
And
mean I have the best waves in the world for sure, but it's a pretty famous destination
yeah,
lately because of Nazaré. And also Nazaré made Portugal in the map. Every time I go, I travel around the world. When I mention I'm from Portugal, people ask me about Nazare. How is Nazare?
Right, right.
Nazare, they call Nazare or something. Yeah, so and for you, I think it's probably you have because our self story is still very, we have few years, right? We started
Right.
surfing here the other day I was interviewing Nikurikyu. He's a Californian shaper that he lives here since 1978, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. And he was telling me, okay, Pedro, when I arrived there, it was maybe 200 surfers maximum in Portugal. Nowadays we have around uh, there is no study that can mention exactly how many surfers, but we believe it's around between 250,000, 300,000 surfers, which so the growth was huge. So for you, I believe it can be it's a more pure like um, industry. I think they can capture your idea with another open mind, and
Yeah.
probably you can have more success in doing it here. And for Portugal, it would be important, I believe. So
Yeah. And
yeah, I think
I understand completely. I believe that because your surfing culture is younger, you're actually more open-minded
exactly.
and the creativity to create this film. Whereas in California, they're steeped in such tradition and history that if it doesn't follow their culture and their history before them, they're a little more closed-minded to opening up to
Probably,
the story.
yeah, I
So I
believe
actually
so.
feel like it would be better in Portugal. And another thing I'm doing is I'm getting the book translated into Portuguese.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Pedro Arruda. He lives out in
I
the
know from
Azores.
Azores.
Yes, yeah.
I know Pedro, of
Um,
course.
I talked with him. He's going to actually translate the book into Portuguese so that people in Portugal and Brazil can read the story.
He's a smart guy,
And
Pedro. Pedro Ruda is a
yeah,
very
yeah,
smart guy. Very smart guy.
yeah. And he's a great author too. I mean, he might be a
Wise,
good
wise,
person.
not smart, wise guy, wise.
Yeah,
He's going to
he
listen,
might be
so
good. Yeah, he might be good on your podcast. You should put him
yeah,
on your
sure.
podcast. Yeah,
I want. I started the podcast not so long ago,
yeah,
so I want to interview everyone that is
yeah,
related with surf development in Portugal, and yeah, of course,
yeah,
he will
yeah.
be here if he accept. Of course,
Sure.
I will have
Yeah.
much pleasure.
Because he told me about his book. I think it's The Oldest Surfer in the Atlantic, and
Yeah, it's very,
he was
yeah,
talking
it's
about the
very
connection
nice.
between Portugal and Hawaii and
It's
how
true.
y'all are connected. So
It's true.
yeah, yeah, he's getting ready to make his book into an English version, and he said he's going to send it to me as soon as he gets it. So
That will be amazing. It's a
yeah,
very interesting book. I have it. It's a very interesting book. I still don't
yeah,
finish it, but it's a very interesting book. Mark,
yeah. Yeah.
picture the premiere night. Where would you like it to be, and what do you hope the audience will feel walking out of the cinema?
Um, because it's such a global story, I picture more than one premiere. I have to have a premiere here in Florida and North Carolina for the people that I grew up with, because
Okay,
my story is a fictional story, but it's basically observations of my life as a surfer that I cobbled together in a story. So I would love to premiere it in front of my surfing peers to say this is a story that you have taken a part in, right? Anybody who I've met as a surfer, you're part of the story because over the years I've cobbled the story together. So I would love to have a premiere right here in my own hometown for my personal surfing peers. But if Portugal made it, I would be stoked to be in Portugal having the premiere there too, because it would be just as important. If this movie was made, it would be very important to have it premiered in Portugal. But I envision this story, I think it needs to be seen on the big screen, not streaming on a TV. It
yeah,
needs
of
to be
course.
on a big screen. And that's my goal, to have it on the big screen uh, all over the world. But what I want people to feel when they walk out of the movie theater, there's many things I want them to feel. If you're a surfer, I want you to walk out of the movie theater going, finally, a story about me, not a stereotype, not a caricature, a story about me. That if someone says, what does it mean to be a surfer? You know this, you can't explain what it means to be a surfer to a non-surfer. It's
It's
almost
true.
impossible, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You
Yeah.
can say, watch this movie, The Bond Between Surfers, and that's what it means to be a surfer. And then I also wrote it for non-surfers as well, people who love the surfing lifestyle and the surfing culture. So I want non-surfers to walk out of the movie and go, man, I want to be a surfer, you know?
Okay. Okay.
So I want to hit both of those goals of,
You want to boost the crowd again.
boost the crowd, yes. And then also, the film is so visually dramatic. And what I mean by that is it's going to be filmed basically outdoors in the grandness of nature. And the surfing footage, I want it to be, most people would just say, go shoot me some surfers and I'll stick it in the movie. Not at all. I want the surf footage to be groundbreaking, things that have never been done before. And I
Okay.
want the surf footage to be as important and as dramatic as the story itself.
Okay.
So it's very important to me that the surf footage is amazing. And basically, I want you to
Red cameras only,
uh,
or
uh, well, we'll talk about that whenever we get to the point where I have a cinematographer. I'm
uh-huh.
talking about coming up with new ideas and new ways and new camera
Okay.
angles
Okay.
and new
Okay.
ways to shoot in the water. I mean, something that's been groundbreaking. And I get that from Big Wednesday because when Big Wednesday was filmed, a lot of that stuff had never even been made before. They had to create the films and the underwater cameras and these big giant movie cameras. They had to create it for the film Big Wednesday. And the cinematography in the surfing scenes of Big Wednesday was absolutely groundbreaking at the
Yeah,
time.
it's true. It's true at the time.
Yeah.
You have any other favorite movies beside Big Wednesday or no?
Yeah. I depends on the day that you talk to me, but Easy Rider.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen Easy Rider, but that
I, I,
movie,
I, I'm not sure. I don't think so.
um,
I saw so many movies, but I don't think
right.
so. That
Easy
name is
Rider,
familiar to me, but I'm
yes.
not sure.
Easy Rider was filmed in the 60s, and it was a motorcycle film
Exactly. Okay.
with
Okay.
and it was as iconic as, say, The Endless Summer for motorcycles.
Okay.
And what it did was Easy Rider influenced how I wrote this story too. I've always said that
Okay.
The Bond Between Surfers is Easy Rider meets Big Wednesday. And the reason for that is Easy Rider was all filmed outdoors. It's very cinematic. And you walk out of the movie theater watching Easy Rider and you want to buy yourself a motorcycle and drive
Oh,
across
I
your,
understand. Okay, I
right?
understand.
It's
Okay.
a visceral feeling inside you that says, I want to be a motorcycle rider who lives on the side of the road and drives across country. I want the same feeling about my movie where non-surfers go, I want to be a surfer and I'm going to sell everything I have and
And
move
just
to,
be a surfer.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But Easy Rider is an amazing movie. It's a little dated now, but it's a story about freedom and how the uh, status quo is challenged and threatened by their freedom of the 60s, you know?
Okay.
And it's a great movie, and that's one of my favorite movies too. And I'll give you another one. I love
Okay.
Surf's Up. Love Surf's Up.
Oh
The
yeah.
cartoon,
The
the
cartoon, I know
animation.
my kids saw it. And I saw it
Yeah,
too, of course.
my sister
Uh,
gave that DVD to me, and I was like, "What
uh,
is this?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's this?" I absolutely love that movie. You can tell a surfer made that movie.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
you can tell. Yeah.
Mark,
So, yeah.
you told about that you live in Florida, so I believe you surf every day or almost every day or no?
As much as I possibly can. I surf probably, you know, 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
on
Okay.
average.
Okay. 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 Okay.
And because it's Florida, we have flat spells. We
What's
can
that?
literally
What's that?
go flat spells, no waves.
Ah, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no waves. So we could go, especially in the summer, we could go 3 weeks, a month with no waves.
Okay. 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 Okay.
But we're masters at surfing very small waves,
Yeah, of course.
right? So we can go out in any size. There's sizes that we would go out like knee high or to the
Yeah. Yeah.
size of your
Yeah.
knee or to the size of your waist.
Yeah. Of course.
Where in Portugal you would not even bother, but we're happy to do it. And
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I surf a lot, but I surf very small waves most of the time. And then
It's
when we
okay.
get when we get a good swell, then we're stoked out of our gourds, and we finally get to surf some real waves and do a bottom turn and so on and so forth. But
Yes.
you can surf quite a bit here, but you have to surf small waves. That's the only catch.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
no matter the size of the waves.
Mhm.
Is there any, have you ever thought of this? Is there any wave that you would surf for the rest of your life if you could choose or no? One wave, one
One way, like a surf break in the world, or
a surf break in the world that you would love to surf for the rest of your life. If you have to live in a place and you can choose the place, where would it be?
um, probably, whew, um, I'm going to say somewhere like Rincon
Oh, okay.
in California,
Uh-huh.
but with no crowd.
And warm water.
And warm water. So I think about maybe somewhere in the Maldives would have warm water.
Sure.
Also, Madeira Island is really singing to me right now. There's
Uh-huh.
some beautiful spots in Madeira that I
That's
would
true.
love to surf. And I think about this all the time, as in, uh, if I could live anywhere in the world, where would I choose? And it used to be New Zealand, but now it's Madeira Island. But
Okay.
there's another spot in New Zealand, a right point break in New Zealand. I'm butchering the name, Manga. I don't know. I can't pronounce the
Okay.
name.
It's okay. It's okay.
Beautiful. It's kind of like a Rin. It's like the Rincon of New Zealand.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would be a right point break somewhere.
What was the best surf trip of your life?
Hanalei Bay and Kauai,
Okay.
the North Shore of Kauai, Hanalei Bay. It's a right reef break. Uh, and it breaks from Hawaiian 2 feet to Hawaiian 20 feet.
Is the one that
And
they made the WCT event 2 years ago? No.
no,
There was a shark attack. No. No, yeah.
oh, no. Kauai is where Bethany Hamilton got her arm bitten
Oh
off.
yeah, yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
that was
okay.
Kauai.
Okay, okay. No, it's okay,
Um,
okay, okay.
but
Mm.
um, the Hawaiians don't like to talk about Kauai and the surf breaks. They like to keep it secret, and I guess I've blown it by even saying it. So it's not the North Shore of Oahu where Pipeline and Waimea Bay and all that is. It's another one of the islands. I
Yeah,
call
yeah,
it
I
the Outer
understand.
Islands. Yeah.
I understand.
But I surfed at Hawaiian 20, 25 feet, which is basically 50 feet, you know?
It's
Uh,
huge.
and it's a world class wave. And that was the wave that I primarily surfed the whole time I was there. And that was before jet skis and life jackets
Yeah,
and CO2 cartridges.
it
It
even
was
existed.
right. It was you and the ocean, and it was a little more life and death at that time. So
One quick question.
yeah,
Who would you play you in a surf movie?
me?
Who would you play you?
Who would play me in a
Yeah.
surf movie? Hmm. Uh, I don't even know. I've never thought about that before. Um, I don't know if I can even come up with an answer.
It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I can come up with an
You
answer.
don't
I
need to
don't,
answer.
yeah, yeah.
What song you'd put in a surf movie soundtrack?
Uh, I already have a soundtrack for my movie.
Okay.
I'm keeping it secret, but
Original? No. Original?
no,
Okay.
because it's a period piece from 1976 to 19 or to
Okay.
2000. It's
Okay.
got some 70s music, some 80s music, some 90s music in there, and it's incorporated to fit the theme of the scene. But I'm gonna say Devo. You know, I love
Okay.
Devo's music. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to say something else.
No, I'm stoked that you had me on. I greatly appreciate it.
My
Everybody in
pleasure.
Portugal, I would love to have this all come together and make this, you know, something that Portugal could be proud of. And I think that if we collaborated with all the surfers in Portugal, I think there's no doubt we could have this thing made in Portugal. And I think it's a movie that Portuguese people would be proud of. And if you want to contact me, I would like to at least say that so that if there's a surfing film person that would like to contact me, just go to my website, www, and it's tbbsurf.com.
I will write it here
Okay, all right.
for you. Okay.
And you can also email me, and let's get this movie made in Ecuador. I mean, not Ecuador, Portugal. My wife is from Ecuador. Let's get this movie made in Ecuador. And you know,
Let me let me ask a question.
yeah.
Last question. How is to be married with a lady that have a different culture, a different language from you? How is it? You've married
Um,
for a long time? How is it?
25 years we've been married. Yeah, we've been
How
married
is it?
25 years. Yeah, I think it's wonderful because you learn more about humanity when you are married to somebody that has a different culture than yourself. They teach you so many things that you never thought you know, your mind is kind of closed, right? So everybody lives in a bubble. You live in a bubble in Portugal.
That's
I
true.
live in a
Of course.
bubble in Florida. But when you marry somebody from a different culture, like for yourself, an Indonesian, she's teaching you things that you never thought about. And she's opening your mind to the rest of the world and the rest of humanity. And I think it makes you a better world citizen, being married to somebody that's not part of your culture. And I don't know if I'd be talking to you if it wasn't for my wife, because maybe I'd be so closed-minded, thinking that only the United States could film this story. You know,
Good point.
instead, I feel like I'm a global citizen thanks to my wife.
You met your wife in Ecuador or
Yeah, I met her in
yeah.
Ecuador. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
hmm
You were surfing in Ecuador?
I've been to Ecuador, have not surfed there. They're actually from the Andes Mountains, which
Okay.
is you know 9,000 meters in the Andes Mountains.
Okay. Okay.
Ecuador has a coast, but it's very difficult to get there from the Andes Mountains.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. 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 Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, it's near Colombia.
yeah.
Okay, very well. Thank you again, Mark. Good
Okay.
luck for your project. We are
Yes.
going to spread it also here in Portugal. I
Thank
hope
you.
you have success. Anything that you need from us, just if you can.